All right, so you ready to dive into this AI stuff? Seems like it's everywhere these days.
Yeah, it's like everyone's suddenly an AI expert.
Well, maybe not expert level just yet, but that's kind of the point of this deep dive, right? We got reports, predictions, even what folks on the street think about AI.
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack.
Exactly. Your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to become AI savvy without drowning in data.
Sounds like a challenge.
It is, but it's also pretty exciting. We're going to aim for those aha moments, and trust me, there are some surprising ones in here.
I'm intrigued already.
Okay, so first things first. Just how big IS, this AI thing. We've all heard the buzz, but Forbes advisor is predicting the market will hit, wait for it, $1.3 trillion, that's trillion with a T, by 2030.
Whoa, that's a lot of zeros.
Right, that's up from about $214 billion this year.
It's mind-boggling growth.
Totally. And it's not just about money, is it? It's about how this tech is going to change.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, businesses, societies, even our daily routines are being reshaped.
Exactly. And that's what we're really going to dig into today. Adoption, impacts, those juicy little details that'll make you the smartest person at the water cooler.
No pressure then.
Not at all. But seriously, one thing that really stood out to me while going through all this stuff is how much AI is already woven into our lives, even if we don't always realize it.
Oh, absolutely. It's everywhere.
Like, think about it using voice search, those chatbots that pop up online, even those eerily good music recommendations we get, that's all AI working in the background.
It's true. And it often feels so seamless that we don't even register it as AI.
Yeah. My shopping app seems to know what I want before I do half the time.
Haha, right. It's a bit spooky, but also super convenient.
But is it really AI? I mean, how does that even work?
We'll take generative AI, for example.
What's the ChatGPT thing, right?
Exactly. That's the tech behind ChatGPT. And it uses patterns in data, tons and tons of text, code, even music, to create new content.
So it's like learning from all that data and then using it to make something new.
You got it. So your shopping app is likely analyzing your past purchases, what others with similar tastes are buying, and who knows what else, to come up with suggestions.
Wow, that's wild. It's like having a personal shopper who knows my brain better than I do.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And speaking of ChatGPT, I read that it hit 1 million users within just 5 days of launching.
Yeah, I saw that too. It's amazing how quickly people are embracing these AI tools.
Definitely. And it's not just individuals. Businesses are jumping on board too.
Oh, yeah, big time. Forbes advisor found that 97%, that's almost everyone, of business owners believe AI will help their companies.
And 64% even think it can boost productivity.
Wow. So everyone's on board with AI now.
Well, there's definitely a lot of optimism, but it's important to look beyond the hype.
Okay, so what's the reality check?
Well, if you look at the research from Deloitte, they found that a lot of companies are actually struggling to move past those initial pilot projects.
So it's not as simple as just flipping a switch and suddenly your business is powered by AI.
Right. Scaling AI, meaning actually integrating it fully into how things work day to day, is way harder than it sounds.
So it's not a magic bullet then?
Not quite.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then there's the whole question of AI and jobs.
Yeah, everyone's worried about robots taking over, right?
Absolutely. McKinsey found that while more companies are adopting AI, there are growing concerns about job displacement.
Oh, I bet. Do they have any numbers on that?
Yeah, their research suggests up to 400 million workers could be affected.
400 million. That's a huge number of people.
It is a serious concern, but there's also another side to the story.
Okay, tell me more.
While McKinsey highlights the displacement risk, they also found that the companies that are excelling with AI are actually creating entirely new roles.
So it's not just about replacing jobs, but also creating new ones.
Exactly. It's about adapting and evolving the workforce to work alongside these new technologies.
That makes sense.
And that leads to another big question. Can we trust AI?
Especially if we're going to be relying on it to make decisions that affect our jobs and lives.
You're right. It's a huge issue. Forbes advisor found that 75% of consumers are concerned about AI spreading misinformation.
Oh, yeah, I read that too. Like those deep fakes that make people look like they're saying and doing things they never did.
Exactly. And Deloitte found that this same fear of misinformation was a major barrier for businesses adopting AI.
So it's a trust issue, basically.
Yeah. We need to be able to trust the information AI gives us, and that's not always easy.
Especially with all the talk about AI hallucinating, basically, making stuff up.
Right. And sometimes those mistakes can have big consequences.
So how do we make sure we can trust AI?
Well, the top-performing companies are focusing on what McKinsey calls risk mitigation and responsible AI practices.
So they're building safeguards into the systems.
Exactly. They're doing rigorous testing and always having a human in the loop to catch those errors before they cause real harm.
So it's not just about the tech itself, it's about how we use it.
Got it. It's like that old saying, with great power comes great responsibility.
That's definitely true when it comes to AI.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We can't just blindly adopt this technology without thinking about the potential downsides.
So we need to be careful and thoughtful about how we use it.
Right. And that leads to a fundamental question. How do we want AI to shape our lives?
That's a big one. It's not just about the technology itself, it's about what we do with it.
You said it. And that brings us to the next part of our deep dive, where we'll explore how people are actually using AI in their everyday lives.
Okay, so we've covered the big picture, the good and the bad. Now let's get down to the nitty-gritty of how AI is actually showing up in our world.
Exactly. We'll uncover those hidden ways AI is already impacting you and explore the really cool things people are doing with this technology.
Sounds good to me.
You know, one thing that's kind of fascinating about this AI stuff, it really makes you think about what we value as humans.
Oh, yeah, totally. Like, if AI can create art or even write a whole symphony, does that make human creativity less special?
It's a big question, right? And there's no easy answer.
I mean, it's almost like AI is challenging us to rethink what it means to be creative.
I think that's a really interesting way to look at it.
Like, maybe it's not about AI replacing us, but more about it becoming a tool we can use to push the boundaries even further.
Exactly. Imagine musicians using AI to generate new melodies. Writers collaborating with AI on storylines, architects designing buildings that are both functional and beautiful.
The possibilities seem endless.
They really do. And speaking of pushing boundaries, one of the predictions that really caught my eye was that 1 in 10 cars will be self-driving by 2030.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, that's what the report said. And it just highlights how transformative AI could be for our cities and transportation systems.
I can't even imagine what that would be like.
No more traffic jams, no more road rage.
It sounds almost too good to be true.
There are definitely some challenges ahead, both with the technology itself and how we adapt as a society.
Oh, for sure. But the progress we've seen in self-driving tech is incredible.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's not just about cars either.
Oh, yeah. I've read about AI being used in healthcare finance education, all sorts of fields.
Exactly. It's becoming part of nearly every industry you can think of. And it's not just about automation. It's about making systems smarter, more efficient, and more responsive to human needs.
So AI is not just about replacing jobs, it's also about improving the ones we have.
You got it. It's about finding ways for humans and AI to work together to achieve better outcomes.
That makes a lot of sense.
And it brings us back to that question of jobs and the workforce.
Yeah, we talked about how AI can create new opportunities, but there are also concerns about displacement.
Right. We need to be proactive about addressing those potential workforce disruptions.
So what can we do?
Well, one thing is investing in education and training programs to give people the skills they need to thrive in a world where AI is becoming more and more common.
So it's not just about teaching people how to code.
Right. It's also about fostering those uniquely human skills like creativity, critical thinking, and problem solving.
Those are the skills that AI can't replicate, right?
Exactly. And those skills will become even more valuable as AI takes over those more routine tasks.
So AI is almost like pushing us to level up our human skills.
I like that way of putting it. And that brings us to another crucial aspect of this whole AI revolution.
Oh, what's that?
AI governance.
Governance.
Yeah, basically, who's in charge of all this? How do we make sure AI is being developed and used responsibly?
That's a huge question, especially as AI becomes more powerful and more integrated into our lives.
Absolutely. It's not an easy question to answer, and there's no one-size-fits-all solution.
So what do we do?
Well, we need to have conversations like this one. We need to bring together policymakers, industry leaders, researchers, and everyday people to figure out how we want AI to evolve.
So it's not just about the tech itself. It's about having the right conversations and making sure everyone has a voice.
Precisely. The future of AI isn't predetermined. It's something we're all actively shaping through the choices we make and the actions we take.
That's a pretty powerful thought. It means we all have a responsibility to get involved and help guide this technology in a positive direction.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to stay informed, stay engaged, and keep asking questions.
So what's next on our AI adventure?
Well, we've talked about the big picture, the potential impacts and the challenges of governance. But now I think it's time to get practical.
I like where this is going. Let's bring it down to earth and talk about what it actually takes for businesses to make AI work for them.
Sounds good to me. Let's dive in.
Okay, so we're back for the final part of our AI deep dive, and I'm really curious about something.
What's that?
We've talked a lot about the potential of AI and all the amazing things it can do, but we've also touched on how some companies are struggling to actually make it work for them.
You're right. It's one thing to talk about the possibilities,
Hmm.
but it's another thing entirely to actually implement AI in a way that delivers real value.
Exactly. Like all those companies that are stuck in pilot project mode, it's almost like they're dipping their toes in the water, but they're not quite ready to dive in.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And it's something that McKinsey really highlighted in their report. They found that the companies that are really excelling with AI, those high performers we keep talking about, are doing a few key things differently.
Okay, so spill the beans. What's their secret?
Well, first off, they're being very strategic about how they use AI.
Meaning.
They're not just trying to apply it to every single problem they encounter. Instead, they're focusing on areas where AI can have the biggest impact.
So it's about finding the right tool for the job, not just jumping on the latest tech trend for the sake of it.
Exactly. It's about understanding where AI can truly add value. Another thing these high performers are doing is investing heavily in their data.
Ah, data. The fuel that powers the AI engine.
Precisely. They understand that AI is only as good as the data it's trained on, so they're prioritizing data, quality data integration, and good data management practices.
That's like that old saying, garbage in, garbage out, right?
You got it. If you feed AI bad data, you're going to get bad results. And these companies also aren't afraid to experiment and iterate.
So it's not just about setting it and forgetting it.
Nope. They're constantly testing new approaches, learning from their mistakes, and continuously refining their AI systems over time.
So it's a process of continuous learning and improvement.
Exactly. And perhaps most importantly, they're building a culture of AI fluency within their companies.
AI fluency? What does that even mean?
It means they're providing training for their employees on how to use these new AI tools effectively, how to interpret the results critically, and how to collaborate with AI systems.
So it's not just about having a few AI specialists tucked away somewhere. It's about everyone in the company understanding how AI can make their work better.
Exactly. It's about empowering everyone to leverage this powerful technology.
You know, it's funny. It seems like the key to success with AI isn't just about the technology itself. It's about having the right mindset, the right skills, and the right company culture.
That's a brilliant observation. And it's something we need to keep talking about,
Yeah.
because too often the conversation around AI gets bogged down in technical details. But the human element is just as important, if not more so.
Because at the end of the day, it's humans who are building these systems, training the models, and making decisions about how AI is used.
Absolutely. And that comes with a huge responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
We need to think carefully about the values we're embedding in these systems, the biases we might be inadvertently perpetuating, and the potential consequences of our actions.
It's a lot to consider, but it's also incredibly exciting.
I agree, because it means we have the power to shape the future of AI and to use this technology to create a better world for everyone.
So as we wrap up our AI deep dive, let's leave our listeners with one final thought, something to ponder as they navigate this incredible new landscape.
Okay, here's a question for you. If AI can write a symphony or create a work of art, does that change how we define human creativity?
Ooh, that's a deep one. And honestly, I don't have the answer, but it's definitely something worth thinking about.
It really challenges us to re-examine our assumptions about what makes us human and what makes us unique.
And maybe in searching for that answer, we'll discover something new about ourselves and about the boundless possibilities of the human spirit.
That's a beautiful way to put it. Thanks for joining me on this AI journey. It's been an absolute pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
The feeling is mutual. And to all our listeners out there, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep imagining the possibilities, because the future of AI is in your hands.
And for those who want to dive even deeper, check out the show notes for links to all the articles we discussed.
We'll see you next time for another deep dive into the world of tech and innovation.
Until then, stay curious